Hi there and big welcome to a deck tech video of Tivit, Seller of Secrets. This deck has been brought to us by my friend Pontus. And as always, in the description below this video you can find a link to Pontus deck list, but also a link to a gameplay video if you want to see this deck in some cool cEDH action. Tivit has a beautiful combo going for it. Time Sieve, which is basically a one card combo for blue-black only. An artifact, by the way, so it's kinda easy to tutor for. The thing with Tivit is on ETB and connection on attack, you're gonna create 5 treasures. And then you can use Time Sieve to sacrifice 5 treasures to take an extra turn, and here you have infinite turns. That's very clean. Also, if they have like a flying blocker, this is a 6/6 flying creature. This is huge, by the way. But if they have a blocker, remember, you're creating 5 treasures on the ETB. So even if you don't connect the first attempt, you can sacrifice a few artifacts to take an extra turn and attack again, because that blocker is usually dead. Also, putting them both into play together will also win, because coming into play, create 5 treasures, getting your Time Sieve, tap it, sacrifice those 5 treasures, and boom, you have an extra turn, and then you can go to combat on that next turn. But it also opens up a beautiful ad nos game plan. You see, Time Sieve is only CMC 2, so that doesn't really affect ad nauseam at all. And imagine this, you're casting ad nauseam, and you have a whole bunch of really low CMC artifacts inside your deck, so you're digging deeply. You maybe dig into some tutors for the Time Sieve if you don't hit it, but then you just put a bunch of random CMC 0 artifacts into play, cast Time Sieve, tap it, sacrifice a bunch of those artifacts, and boom, you have a new turn. I think it's a perfect follow-up after an ad nauseam. So we could easily make this into something of a turbo deck, adding a lot of rituals to get that ad nauseam to resolve really fast. But those rituals won't be in the way, because you could use them to get your commander into play faster as well. Now 6 mana for this big Sphinx is really expensive, however, you're gaining value the moment you get it into play. It could even be safe to actually tap out for it, because you can gain 2 treasures to cost a mana drain that you have in your hand, for example. But having an opening hand that only contains a turn 2, turn 3 big Sphinx is fine. You're gonna go hellbent, but you're gonna get clues, you're gonna get treasures, so your commander will solve that problem for you. And 6 mana isn't that impossible. Remember, we're playing a turbo ad nos deck here, we are going for it. So the game plan is very straightforward. Slam dunk your commander into play, accumulate value from him by getting treasures and clues, by smashing face. Well, smashing face with this is actually kind of cool too. Like, it's a 6/6. You can commander damage someone after 4 attacks. So if someone actually do have a collector oof in play, well, you have something of a solution. You have a 6/6 flyer. Smash that player's face. And then you sit there and accumulate value until you dig into ad nauseam, or dig into Time Sieve, or dig into a tutor for them of sorts. Or you have ad nauseam in your opening hand and just go for that instead. And you can easily tweak this deck a lot. You can have a lot of interaction in it. You can even have some stacks effects in it. It's a very open commander for variations of builds. Or well, the core will be turbo ad nos, Time Sieve, and of course also we're playing fast as console. That's very auto included. I mean, we're playing Demir here. But specific individual cards you want to have inside the deck could absolutely vary. For example, Academy Manufacture is an absolute worthy mention. That is a lot of value. You're gonna create 5 clues, 5 treasures, and 5 food. I'm a personal little bit sad that we can't play this. That would be fun. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, deal 1 damage to a creature or player. That's great interaction. But we can play this thing, Clock of Omens, which is gonna transform your treasures into sort of mana rocks that you get to keep. So that's cool, but we can go even more crazy. Here's Ursa for you. You're gonna create a lot of artifacts, and all of those artifacts can tap for mana, and you can pump that mana into Ursa. So suddenly we have something like two potential pathways here. Either we go for turbo, lots of rituals, lots of tutors that add NAS turbo speed, or we go towards something of a mid-range deck. We're playing Ursa, value, cool stacks effects, things that are delaying the game, making lots of value with the commander. You can also just do a mix of both Ursa and Adnas inside the deck. They will both be individually great. Tivit can easily be a great mid-range commander because we're going for a mid-range combo. Also, we're going for a very expensive mid-range combo. So Tivit is 6 mana, Time Sieve is 2, that's a total of 8. Now sure, we're gonna pay them separately, like first the commander, accumulate value. By the way, that commander will usually give you the treasures, so you can cast Time Sieve as well, and then you just sacrifice some of your mana rocks to make infinite turns or start the engine with the Time Sieve. But the big thing here, guys, is that we can win through a rule of law. No more than 1 spell per turn, because once we have this, we're not casting any more spells. Or well, we could, but 1 spell per turn for infinite turns means infinite spells. For example, consider this board state. You have an Archon that is hurting your opponents, that is affecting your opponent's way of playing. You have a Grand Abolisher, your opponents can't do spells during your turn. You have your commander in play, you go to your turn, everything is set up, you just cast your Time Sieve and boom, you win through your own Archon of Emeria. So I can really see it as a potential stack deck. Just make sure you're not adding Null Rod, okay? Alright, so we gotta choose. Either we're building the Adnas version, turbo fast combo speed, or we're going for a stacks mid-range version where we go heavily into Ursa and cool things like that kind of value. However, you can actually build both, and there is a huge advantage of building both. You see, you're not required to tell your opponents which version you're currently playing when you're sitting down. You are required to tell them that you're playing Tivit, but it could be Tivit stacks, or it could be Tivit combo of win fast. If you're playing against the same opponents over and over, they usually get used to you. They know what opening hands they're gonna keep against you and your decks. For example, here we have Venota and Corvold. If we're seeing Venota, we know that's a stacks deck, a creature heavy deck that is attacking a lot, delaying the game and such. And Corvold, we know, or well, it's probably gonna be a turbo deck. I'm guessing there could be a stacks variant of Corvold out there, but that would be weird. But when opponents see these commanders, they know how they're gonna strategize, they know a little bit how they're gonna mulligan and such. However, if your opponents are seeing this, it could be Tivit or it could be Tivit. They're not gonna know 100% certain what kind of version of Tivit this is, and that could mess them up a little bit. In competitive games, you want to have every little advantage to you as possible, even if it's a small one. So build both. That means in the description below the video, you're gonna see another link of my version where I transform this into a stacks version. Everything I touch becomes stacks. I really wanna see Pontus' reaction to this when he's realizing I am destroying his deck. So here we have Pontus' version of Tivit with Ad Nauseum, we have Academy Manufacturer, we have Ursa. So he's going for a little bit of a mix of both, which I actually kind of like. He also plays Grim Hireling, which I really like for this deck. It's a great creature removal, especially as you're able to produce so many treasures with his commander. He plays Smothering Tide. I think that's a little bit overkill. I don't think you need that. Like, that's gonna hurt your Adnas. I think that's something I'm gonna have in my version though. He doesn't play Peer into the Abyss. I think he should, but I can see why he doesn't. 3 black is a little bit tricky. Sure, he has the Dark Ritual for that, but still. Mnemonic Betrayal though, I like that. But now, my version. We're gonna go here, we're gonna duplicate, and we're gonna write Tivit make Pontus happy. That's what we're gonna call it. So here we go, we have added Teferi Time, Master of Time. We also added Academy Ruins. I think you should actually consider this deck as like an auto include, because time sieve really is the ultimate #1 combo here, and this is a great way to just rebuild that one. Now we're still on the fastest oracle combo, but I did add Hush Win Griff and Hush Bringer because we're still able to win with infinite turns. We can win through anti-ETB effects. So we went into Rule of Law, we have things like Archon of Emeria, and we have Deafening Silence, so we did add Divining Witch, which is a pretty cool combo card, by the way, because it's not casting a spell. This is Demonic Consultation on a creature activation, so you can cast your fastest oracle and you can activate this creature and you've only casted one spell. By the way, you can activate this, find fastest oracle, and then you untap, you go to your turn, and then you win. So Divining Witch is something of a one card combo pretty much for this deck, but also don't be afraid of using your Demonic Consultation to find Time Sieve, because, well, sure, you could lose because you could accidentally exile too much of your deck, so even if you have infinite turns you can't win, but you only need Time Sieve and a bunch of cards in your library to win, so Demonic Consultation into Time Sieve, that's a go. Oswald Fiddlebender is great inside the deck. Ranger Captain of Eos is amazing, must have inside this deck. After that, it's basically the same. We've pretty much just cut everything that is being killed by an Archon of Emeria, but we're still in Brainstorm and all the really key interactive cards you need to just control the game with your blue counterspells. And of course, increasing casting cost of things, sphere resistance, that's great. And finally, we also did add Girapur Aether Grid, because I don't think anyone is going to notice. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and you wanna support me, feel free to share my videos or even checking out my Patreon page. Also, purchasing cards from the TCG Players website using the affiliate link in the description below of the video will also help the channel grow. So a big thank you to all of you.